the file. Because what I'm finding, Lady Jayne, is that I absolutely get Gabriel runs the session.
Okay.
So you're going to maybe want to go back and visit it. Or I shouldn't say I know for sure it's Gabriel. Somebody runs the session. That's not me.
Sometimes it's more than one.
Jayne, what's your favorite color?
Probably like aqua sea blue, you know, that beautiful.
Like more greenish or more bluish?
More on the bluer side, like aquamarine.
This color?
Well, I can show you. I have an aquamarine crystal here. I don't see any color.
I just wrote your name on the paper.
I don't see anything but a partial Venn diagram. It's blank. So you have to move it up. It's down at the bottom of my screen. So
okay. Well, I got what I think is the right color for you.
Okay.
Based on all the above, this is a more blue.
Oh, there we go. At the it almost showed at the top the dots.
Yep.
And there was but now it's gone again. So.
Well, okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take a few minutes, and I want you to just we're going to talk about all the things you love. I mean, we can actually start out, and I'm going to put down the things that I already know about you.
Okay.
Just because one of the things that if you would want to do this with clients, what it does is it creates that anchor of I actually know who you are, having worked with you, you know, and it creates that feeling of like, I'm seen, I'm known. You know, I know you love yoga, and I know you love Reiki. I know that you have danced in the past, so I'm going to guess that you love to dance.
And dance over yoga, yeah. Yoga is a vehicle to get back.
Yeah, dancing and singing. I know that you care about health and wellness. I know that you have had a focus on nutrition. I know that you love the castle and the angels and all of that goes with it.
The grounds, I feel very connected to the grounds.
You want to go ahead and add in since you jumped in?
So other things that I love or just the castle part?
No, things that you love.
I love nature. I am a free-spirited type person who I consider myself sort of, I hate to use the word Renaissance and all, but my whole path has been, you know, I basically love adventure with purpose, and that's kind of been part of where I've been. Anything with nature, the further out I could be, the better. But, you know, right now I am where I am. I love hiking. I love climbing. I love water. I'm part mermaid for sure. You know, there's a little Lemurian mixed with all this, but I'm very much a water person. So I love being near the ocean. I absolutely adore that. Skiing. I like to be physically active, but I like it in a just clean air, you know, just a healthy environment, not lots of noise. I've grown past that. I guess it's moving into my wisdom phase. I am moving into, you know, having moved through a lot of other paces in my life and done the glamour thing and, you know, smacked it. Is this it? Is this that? It's just moved me forward to where I am now, I suppose. And so it's very much into the pulling it together differently now. It's physically things change. So maybe I'm talking more than what you want for this.
No, it's perfect because you already are fairly along, and this process is going to have different experience for different people. Like I did it for Lady Sophia, and it's clarifying, and it's fun. It'll just give you a different insight on where you are. So what I would tell you is, this is not.
What is this pulled from? You know, there were times when I did education, we did that. Is it something you devised or is it
So
things.
I've spent the last 10 weeks learning how to do visual mapping. So
Okay.
taking the micro school building process, and I have created a visual map of the process that we take a client through. And I've learned to use a variety of to draw models to do that. So smack in the middle, and one of the models, the core model to this process that I've been trained in is called the
Mm-hmm.
genius model, and the guy who created it uses this three-pronged Venn diagram with the petals around the outside.
I love
So
it.
smack in the middle, I was working with Heather, who's the webmaster for me and also for the Goodnight site. We were talking about models, we were talking about our business, and I was told, draw the genius model for Heather to help her see that she's out of balance because she's too heavy in one of the circles. And that's
Mm-hmm.
why she looks so tired. So like I just did what I was told to do. And then I was
Oh,
like,
that's
oh my,
good. Yeah. No, this
like,
is, yeah, this is excellent because, you know, part of what the yoga is doing now, and look, I'm in the middle of an exam thing, you know, another week, and I have Conan. So I have to just give you some fill in the blanks. I'm not doing, I still have to be an income producing person, but I have a little luxury of not pushing like I've
well,
had
you
to.
do, and you're also far enough along that you've done a lot of the things, but what this will do for you, so we're gonna put the things that you love, and I'm gonna do what I did for Lady Sophia for you. We're gonna take a look, we're gonna categorize all of these things that you love into some areas. And because you've already done the wheel of co-creation, I'm going to actually use the colors that go with the areas that you identified you love. We're
Well,
going
I
to
love
do,
animals and I love horses. I used to be a
okay.
horsewoman. So horses, that's on my list. You know, that's one of the things I plan to do with Michaela again. But yeah, these are all.
So what
Um,
this process will
and
do is we're going to just be checking to see um, how well the things that you love fit into the things you chose for yourself, and then also what that's resulted in as far as the choices that you've made, you know, how they've led you to this point. We're going to be looking to see that where you're sort of where you are right now and where you want to go moving forward is in alignment with that stuff. Because if you've chosen these domains for yourself and they're you know, they're spot on, they're going to work really well together. So one of the ones that I know you chose for yourself was spirituality.
mm-hmm.
So I picked up a highlighter that I'm going to use, and I'm going to highlight the things that I think are related to spirituality, like Reiki. Oops, I need to
And
make.
you also need to put I don't mean to interrupt, but
Yeah.
travel with purpose, because Greg was Peace Corps, and I have that mentality. And that when we're released again, that's going to be part of the path. We'll
Okay.
be going to places where he helps with the fields and all of this. So it's that's the culture part. You know, when it's art and culture lumped together. Yes, I see colors, but
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
but it's
So
because I've lived in many cultures, so I have a good understanding of different people.
gotcha.
So that's important because I grew up that way. I moved all my life and always had to adjust to new situations.
So if I look at spirituality, I would probably say Reiki fits into that, wouldn't you think?
Mm-hmm. That was
Maybe
part of.
the
Mm-hmm.
castle grounds and the angels are part of spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else? You being a free spirit, probably.
Yeah, yeah, and it's you know, I have to work at staying grounded. That's where yoga
Mm-hmm.
helps.
Mm-hmm. And we
Mm-hmm.
don't need more, but what I'm going to do is go ahead and I'm going to take this top bubble and I'm going to actually just call it spirituality. Woo! Things moving on me. Don't do that. Go away. Okay. So let's go. I mean, we can do it one of two ways. We can work with the spirituality domain first, or we can go ahead and identify how the other ones sort of if they line up with, because you had health and wellness. And health
Definitely.
and
Mm-hmm.
do you see anything there that you think falls into that health and wellness domain?
Well, um, what did we miss here? You know, the whole
Oh yeah,
nature.
we have health and wellness right here. And nutrition.
I wrote it down, yeah. And I mean, I have degrees in all those things, you know, doctor of naturopathy. I am a doctor, but I can't
Yep.
use it.
Well, you have nature.
Herbs, and you know, I'm pretty sufficient. Excuse me, with you know the whole vitamin mineral corrective thing. Functional medicine. I mean, I was very involved with the big wigs for quite a while. So functional medicine, yeah, I have a real strong background. I mean, I have degrees in exercise physiology. You know, I've been trapped, but they're not my passions, but they certainly are in my background.
Well, but they absolutely fit into, you had a domain that you chose for yourself as things that you know, were interested in, or that you could offer service in, that was health and wellness.
Right. Yeah.
I have played around with this activity, letting the person that I'm working with identify the sort of big themes. You're the first person that I'm very much directly. I sort of did it with Sophia, and it was useful to just say, you know, you've chosen these things. Let's see how they match up. Do they match up? You know, because you really do have a lot of things on here. So, and then the third one that you had a tie between environment and art and culture.
Were they tied? Because I wanted to throw, because the environment, I lump things, I put health and wellness and the environment together.
Okay.
I think when I wrote it, they should, in my view, they should be one, because the environment involves clean water, clean air. You know, it's not the technological part, but I think those were the two. I sort of just put them on a par because I address those in wellness.
Because they're the same thing. Okay,
and
so then
art, yeah, and art, because it's the plants and it's the soil. All that is involved in my, you know, herbal medicine and all. So to me, that goes there. And then the third category, art and culture, and more emphasis for me was on the culture, because, you know, my hand is not one that, I love art, but, you know, I'm not going to be able to teach people to draw these portraits, because that's not how it comes through with me. Color, yeah, I'm a living color.
Yeah. Well, that's actually perfect, because you combine them together. That makes it easier for me, because health and wellness, environment are together. Then I can put ocean and skiing and physical activities, and I can put animals and horses, and I can put nature and hiking and climbing and water, all of the yoga, dance, all of those things fit into that green domain. And then that just leaves the remainders, which the art and culture, and the colors are arbitrary. I'm using them because they're on the wheel, because we're using the wheel. It's just kind of fun to see how they work together. And I thought it was interesting that yours were green and purple, which are really neat together. But
I'm definitely into purple now, and this wisdom phase, and eating mushrooms again, which I didn't do for years. I can't get it up. It's just, you know, life cycles. And I will write about, it's been forming for years how to put this together. And I did a movie, Passion in Person, after 65. It's on YouTube, but somebody did it on me. So it's been a path to come to fruition. And this is like pulling it together. I know it's time.
Well, the arts and culture piece, that would definitely encompass travel with a purpose, cultures, people, adventure. I think probably for you fits in there. The wisdom piece, I guess I could put the wisdom piece maybe with the spirituality grouping. Would you say?
And but to me, it overrides everything, because at this point, this is the way I look at it. And maybe it doesn't fit this exercise, but I'm at a point now where I feel I have maybe many years, but I'm a lot more thoughtful about how I do things rather than go gangbusters, because I was the original truth or dare girl. Oh, well, I can always pick up the piece and do the next thing. You know, I took care of myself for a long time, and a kid who had a lot of issues. And so you do that. And now it's like, I'm thinking thoughtfully. I'm thinking about how I allocate everything that I do, because my energy is not inexhaustible like it used to be. It's much more finite. My brain, I feel, has I want to say changing, but I think it's because I'm becoming so much more quantum now. And it's doing the, like, studying for this yoga exam, which is really very complicated, is taking a lot of my time right now. It'll be in a week and a half. I have responsible for helping Conan and schooling him right now, because the family dynamics were getting out of control. So I'm working with that every day. And so I'm just, you know, have to allocate my time accordingly. So when I step up to the plate, I have to step up realistically, because, you know, I'm slower at doing things than I was. but mentally. So computers, working with computers, assigning things, it would take me hours to, like, constant comment. I would put things, try to do things on that. I run in, like yesterday, I tried to post, even though it's been shown, I don't retain those kinds of details. Like I tried to make my own fundraiser. So I posted, I ended up just donating through Facebook and posted on Facebook, which I rarely do, because I just couldn't wrap my brain around, well, now how can we do this? You follow what I'm saying? So I'm just drifting a minute. It's a little drifty issue with me, but I'm just in, you're catching me at a good time, because I really have to be realistic about how I put my mental
And
stuff.
let's see if we can get the focus here to that. So if we start with the spirituality, that was our purple domain.
Mhm.
I'll just put a little bit of that here so that we can see that. Tell me a little bit about your spiritual path. Just briefly, tell me a little bit of what it was like when you were a kid.
Very strongly Catholic. I went to Catholic schools all my life. My mother thought I would be a nun and prayed heavily. I was had a, one side of me was very monastic, because I had to move every couple years and adjust to new school, new kids. My father was a naval officer, so we moved all over. And I went, in the 50s, I was in a mission school in Hawaii. So I had some awesome experiences as a result of all of that. But I learned to, be with myself. I'm basically a loner. So I learned to, I used to hear things, I didn't understand them, but I was raised in the Catholic way, but I would go sit in church and just to be quiet. And went to girls' schools, so socially, things, I just left it all. I
So
rebelled.
what happened when you
And so I went, but once your soul is where it is, I did lots of civil rights activities. I was always tutoring so I turned my spirituality into a type of Peace Corps. I didn't join the Peace Corps per se, but because I'm of that root generation, I was always working, working with kids, tutoring them. Um, I've been a volunteer, doing volunteer things all my life. Taught in a school for pregnant teenagers under special ed when I got my education degree. Um, and so I was on that path, and I just got tired of being in education and just books all my life. And so that's when I tried other things. I sold real estate. I did a bunch of things, on a search of, okay, what's life really all about? So that led me into, my sister was a member of an ashram. So, and I lived in the Northwest. So, I got exposed to Hare Krishna, and I would go to, festivals of all kinds. And I have spent time in and out in the ashram, but, just, I realized that structure, I needed something more free spirited. Um, and then that led me through just being back here and raising, just my life, which was kind of crazy. Found my way through Michael being thrown in my face, so to speak, one summer right before 9/11. And that's how I found my way here, Michael Moss. I mean, I just kept. And when I came in, the minute I stepped foot on the grounds, which weren't to what they are now, I just was blown away by it. How come I never knew about this? I would go to Renfest and, fairy things and all that.
so what would you say about now?
So
Where
now my spiritual path is very much connected. I know the direction we're going is I'm very grateful for it. It's was, I've been sort of waiting for it, I guess, all these years. Like, when is all this going to happen? As I've watched myself and everyone around me grow, so, with food, people are starting to catch up. I was kind of been there for years. A lot of things I've already been there, but the spiritual piece I was lacking. And so that now, with the whole, I have a terrible headache, so excuse me, I think I picked up their headache. The all that's coming through with Sir Edward, and just because of how I've grown up with this path and what I know can happen and what I've seen, we're finally just really breaking through, and it's just a big zoom. It's like it's just it is what it is.
The work that you're doing right now, though, like when you bring people into your session room that you brought me into tonight, what is it that you're doing right now?
Oh, I mean, all this is wonderful as we begin to nurture the spirit, other people's spirits, get to know their energy and get to know where they are, and to see how this collective is really going to expand, because we've been a small group and it hasn't been an easy thing for anybody. You know, you question it along the way. And uh, once these classes started and more people stepped forward, and there was, well, people really, there are other people out there who really will come. You know, we watched it come and go. And now I just think it's just a beautiful experience to see how it's all going to grow. And I guess that's part of what the collective is that she's going to be doing, and the part that we have to do.
She only knows what she knows, what she's being given
Well,
one step of the way.
yeah, I mean, look, I'm like this. See, I have just accept. That's why I don't question it, because I don't. I I saw what it was early, and I just know it's the right path. You know, having been around with Sir Edward at the helm for a long time, having grown up through all that, seeing what we've seen and experiencing what we've done so many times, and then to have this just magnifying, it's, you know, I'm happy just not to go out my door most of the time, other than if I could go hiking the mountain and all. But as far as being in crowds and, you know, parties and music and out, and you know, I'm starting to come out of the cocoon a bit, because it's time to reach out and be part of the world again, to move it forward. And I have a grandson that I'm very involved with now, so I'm parent. So, you know, I mean, and so this is the world we're trying to shape for them. So I'm involved with his, you know, back involved with his teacher, with his school. Um, and I worked with him last year in the school. And so it's, what we're doing is just important all the way around. My love and what I love, yes, I could be happy just doing Reiki. I have people that are still, you know, it's kind of quiet now, but I still do Reiki, and it's time for me to reach out again. But I just, that's what I love doing. I love doing the spiritual piece. I love doing the spiritual work.
Tell me about health and wellness for you as a little girl, and then,
Well,
you know, your connections to the environment when you were young.
oh, I was always outside. I was a Girl Scout. I would pitch tents in the backyard, just sleep out under the stars. I knew all the constellations. I had done wilderness camping and hiking. I could do the knots. I could do a lot of, I used to do a lot of things, you know, that I really make my own clothes, all kinds of things that are no longer part of that part of my path. But as far as the health and wellness, even as a kid, I never liked meat. I had to learn to like it. And if I had a piece of meat, I would squeeze the grease out. I was always different that way. I used to frustrate my father, but I just always had, I just had a sense about other things. And yet I also went through an eating disorder with myself in high school. So that was part of it. So, but I've always had this pull where, why do I have a headache? Why am I like this? Why am I, nobody can give me answers. So I really went into it not expecting to go as far as I did, because I already had degrees in other areas. But I just was on a path to try to fix myself. So really there was self-interest. And once I got going, oh,
So you did
wow,
a lot. You just went into studies to figure this stuff out.
basically to figure it out. That's how I do a lot of things. Yeah. You know, what is my,
What did you study? Did you go to college, Jayne?
did I go? I have about 5 degrees.
So tell me what your studies were.
Well, I have a BA, and it really should be 2 BAs, English and European history, which meant nothing to me. But I have that. I had secondary teaching credentials. So I taught in the alternative school for a while, and our bios are in there. Then I came back later just thinking I was going to go to law school. I could have had an open right. I was going to be a criminal lawyer to help bring justice to the world. I'd be dead now if I did that. And I just, after a while, I tried selling real estate for a while. I said, I'm not cut out for all of this. And so I went back to school. I had been auditioned by MGM to be a Solar Scale Hollywood show. So I followed a little bit of the path for a while, and I said, this is really not the life I'm supposed to do either. So then I went into, I was going to get a master's in political science, and the law would have been a better fit with my thing. But no, I just want to know about health. Oh, I'll just get a degree in nutrition for a year or two, and I'll find out about it. I'll just maybe get married and raise kids. Well, none of that was happening. So when I came back, I was married to Martin Luther King Special Projects Director. So I have met and worked with many people that some are dead. He was 20 years older, but I have learned a lot and seen a lot about many cultures in this society, and even taught a course called Comparative Cultures many years ago before, it's a prelude to things we're doing now, taught by Malcolm X's people. And I've been lots of places like that. I really do have a wide background of stuff. And so
how about now? Where are you with health and wellness?
Right now, health, it's certainly not my passion. Let's put it like this. I'm really moving more this is where I am with thinking about how one thinks this whole online thing. Of course, with me, it's always removing the blocks of working online because of myself with computers. But the big thing is more putting together, I actually had developed a workshop that would encompass maybe just the highlights. I was thinking more of this season of life, to help people with what I know, what to look for. If you go in, say on a medical thing, I could take that piece. These are the types of labs. These are certain things that change through the life cycle. These are things you need to have a heads up on. And in the same workshop, a bit about Reiki. Even if it was 2 or 3 days in attunement to Reiki, and then something with crystals. And I had a very ambitious workshop, and I did many parts of it when I was working in Annapolis through my 60s in primary care at the Naval Academy. And I brought a lot of this in to a very toxic environment. My Reiki degrees were hanging on my wall at the Naval Academy, and there's no time to go into all that. But yeah, I have done those kinds of things. And so now I don't want the hard path that way. I want to be able to breathe and go a little slower with things. Mm-hmm. I may, with medicine and all, I may go back I have a background in environmental allergies and delayed, all the things that affect the GI system. And I can refer for tests like that, and I still do. So I can do some of that. But I really don't have a passion for keeping up in the field. It's a hard field, and there's a ton of information. I'm not out after building a practice like that. I still accept some insurance. If someone finds their way to me, they always end up on the table afterwards, so we might do that. So I really, right now with COVID, it's been the chance to just not do much of any of that because I closed my office. I don't like that many people in the house, and we have a small place. So it's the medicine piece is just kind of out there. It's not my passion to go after. I'm not a cooking, quote, dietitian. I probably will put together something not like here's the presentation and here are the recipes. I put things together with what's here. I know where you can find the calorie-free noodles and the this and that. And these are some ideas of how you can put some things together, but I'm not out giving you recipes and wholly, calculating the nutrient density of food. You have programs for that. That's not who I am. I was always more like the clinical person. Rather than drugs, we can fix it this way and we can fix it that way. And, it's hard work, and I'm not sure I want to do that way anymore. But with health and wellness, where we are in the castle, my whole thought with that, of course, is I'm not sure how it's going to shape, but I put the herbs and the
You know,
plants.
let me, sorry for interrupting you, but we're going to talk about like what the things will all move into. You're totally intuiting the process. Part of what I want to do is capture the outer circles before we move on to the inner circles, which are, you know, things that you've done most recently that connect these pieces together, and pieces that you want to be working on, which will sit in the center section. So can we jump in? Can your brain
Sure.
shift and think about childhood and art, or arts and culture? Tell me a little bit about all this traveling and your cultural experiences.
Well, I have learned, for instance, I learned belly dancing by immersion into the Arab culture. I learned Filipino dancing by immersion in that community. I learned Afro jazz and danced with the first, first multicultural dance troupe in the Northwest by immersion into the Afro-American community. I'm by immersion. I learned about change in this country, or all the other by, I married Martin Luther King's special projects director. So my thing has been by immersions with people, and because of moving all my life, um, to where we had to adapt. I was always in school, like in Hawaii. I went to school in a mission school. I was the only Haole, so I learned to adapt to Japanese and Hawaiian culture. And so, and I've always kind of sought that. My part of my family is from the Spanish thing now with my sister, and I've learned a lot about, that whole culture and the Cuban culture. And so wherever I go, I somehow am able, I've traveled enough. I hitchhiked through Europe. So, I learned firsthand how to make it through Italy. So it's, I've just have, triple Aquarian side of me. I'm adaptable that way. And I always seem to be able to connect with people. And the things that I remember are people connections. It's like, for instance, a good example, when in Seattle, uh, a lot of people from other countries, especially Africa and other places, were sending all of their kids, if they wanted to go to medical school or whatever, to the University of Washington. It was a mecca. So I met many people that way. And even to this day, we were holding a yard sale at the castle, and out front, there was some ladies from the camera. I knew right away with the camera, and I said, gee, do you know Wally Muna? And they, oh my goodness, yes. So I have this ability somehow, and osmotically, I'm able to pull things out of the air of just relating to all kinds of people. I've been all over the DC scene. I used to be part of the International Policy Institute for 3 years. So, I would go to lectures and dinners and all the ambassadors' places. And, growing up with my father's position, the way it was, he was a decorated first top hatter in World War II. So, my parents were on the Washington scene and so forth. So I've just had exposure, and I really can be comfortable most places. If I found myself in the White House, I almost went to work there not too terribly long, right after the Naval Academy, or with in the hospital center. I worked on the floor as diabetes. I have a big background in diabetes, and I worked in the hospital for years, and worked with the people off the streets, and coming
How
into
about
ice.
now? Like, what do you do, since you're sort of more at home? And especially with COVID, how do you experience arts and culture from home? I see a bunch of instruments hanging on the wall.
Oh, yeah. Well, Greg is anything, anything with strings. That's why he's going to set up and teach how you do a recording studio at home.
So those are his, not yours.
No, they're his. I can, drum, dancing. I can dance I can move to any rhythm. Let's put it like that. And I haven't been doing that. My immersion the last few years has really been around spiritual growth more. And of course, Conan's still a big part of my life. So I'm still parenting, and really new to a relationship, So for years, there was no relation, I was out there pretty much on my own. And so that part has been nice to allow that to come to be, and just at night, kick back and have someone to relax with. And so I really cherish that. That's a gift, being 73. That's a piece of where I'm allowed to be right now. But I still have plenty of purpose, and I still have, for 73, I'm still in pretty good shape for whatever the 73 is supposed to look like. But I also know that I'm going through those changes. So I'm really relearning myself physically. And this year, probably more so. Getting into this yoga, intensive yoga I'm in right now, way more than I would have bit off. I mean, the anatomy and the this and the whatever. So I've got a ton of work. It's to get through it. But the one thing it did do, which was my reason for part going in, was to learn how to self-correct all the pains I was getting in my body and why nothing else seemed to work. Well, that's work now. So body is getting back to where the shoulders don't hurt the same way and all of that. So I know that I'm meant to do something with this. And of course, putting this kids thing, I guess I better whip and get that together for the castle. That's a piece of it. But I still feel like I'm going to be doing something for people of this season of life as well. It's always been, what is the things that can help you keep it together? Once you reached your more wisdom phase, the body needs to be part of that piece. And how do you keep it all together better? What are some of the things that make this season more enjoyable and purposeful and balanced, I guess? So
Well, that's probably why when we did the Reiki the other night, they were showing me the book in your hand, like that, putting it all together. And the thing that I kept seeing was that it wasn't Louise Hay's book, but that was the metaphor they gave me. It was like she wrote "You Can Heal Your Life" later in life, after she could put together everything that she had seen. Like that might be a sort of similar thing for you.
Well, it's rare that I ever get a headache, and my head has just been pounding. And I think when both Mary and Sophia said they had these headaches, maybe I'm picking up a piece of it. So it's really, I mean, you're a trooper going through all this like this, because I can barely even keep my thoughts together here.
You're doing fine, because I hope you will accept my apology, because they're telling me when to interrupt you.
Oh no, that's fine. I mean,
check out your map. I mean, they're just having me transcribe.
I don't want to run over because you have a client.
No, I know. We need to do. We're actually in good shape. We're going to spend about 10 more minutes, and we're going to look to see the things that you've been doing in the last year or two, or 3 years. Since Goodnight University started, I think that's really given people a new focus. So you were talking about, we've got these intersections that are sitting between spirituality and culture for you, and health and culture, and then spirituality and health and wellness. Can you think of some things that you've done in the last couple of years? You're taking these yoga classes. That probably sits between health, wellness, environment, and spirituality, wouldn't you say?
Well, I think part of it too is like another outreach. I live in Greenbelt, where, the people coming forward it just hasn't been happening the same way. I've done a lot of outreach here that there's like a ceiling that's been hit. And Greenbelt is, Eleanor Roosevelt's, old historic, blah, blah. It's got like a bubble over it. Well, Q lives, we never see each other, but she lives in it as well. And I came from living on water in Annapolis. Well, I've lived lots of places. And so now I'm in this small, older place. And so it has its benefits. There's a lot to be said for it. But as far as really people coming forward, only a few people have it's not where I want to hang the hat here. So I figured it was time for another outreach. So the studio that I went up to, knowing I needed to get back into some other kind of yoga, was one that Sophia actually told me about. And the woman that I found teaching that, I mean, she's been really tremendous. And then I just said, okay, if I get certified, that's going to give me something I know I'm supposed to do. It's going to put me in touch with another set of people that are have a little more other kind of, I hate to use the word upscale, but a different a different crowd. And then we were expanding crystals, and I could get them. I was on the verge of getting them to carry. It's a national organization, carry crystals for us, so it's like, okay, this we can step up. This is part of the mission, because I'm a crystal, for me, that's a love of it. I'm just all about crystals, and in spirituality, it's all of it. I've been with her all the way through with all the crystals, and I just gravitate to it. I get it. I love it. I love
I'm gonna put Shona's drawings on here. I just heard to do that.
You what?
I just heard to put Shona's drawings between art, culture, and health and wellness, because that's part of the ones that you have hanging.
Yeah, well, that's my way home, the flower, and they call me the flower child, and I used to think, oh, no, people say a hippie, they don't even know what a hippie is. But yes, I am all about color and flowers, and I just colors are everywhere with me, and I can see colors and hear colors. So it's and it's my pretty side too. I love all that, and I could be very happy. I've loved this containment we've had here. I love it. It's like the one big snow day, right? We've already said that. I've loved being able to pull back, and I could feel the energy changing already yesterday. I could just feel it in the air. A few more people on the road, driving a little faster, and I could I can feel it revving up, and I don't talk to myself anymore at all. But yesterday I found myself starting to talk to myself again. I said, "Oh, cut it." So I really, I just don't want to have to work like this. I don't work well that way anymore. It's like I am a slower paced person. I'm the kid that takes the whole time in a test and will be the last one out, because I'm a overthinker and a daydreamer. It's hard for me to just bang things out like the way you guys bang things out. And I guess I've done it. I've written tons of stuff. I have how many degrees, and I've been through that, and I had 3 and 4 jobs at a time. I had this kid by myself with bipolar or whatever, and so I have to say I'll cut myself a little slack. Yes, I can step up and do more, but I also can't. You follow?
So I mean, it sounds to me like you really you're desiring to slow down a little bit and to find the things that bring you joy and that still let you be in service. So we're going to look at, I don't know if there's an answer, but I want you to look at this centerpiece.
Okay.
Because I may or may not be able to put anything in here for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be something that you want to. I'm going to send you this document. I'll send you the recording. But what we're each looking for is clues for the ways in which all of the things that are sitting on those outside petals, our life in each of these domains, how they've pointed inward towards things that we've done recently, and how they actually can continue to point inward to the next thing that's in alignment for us. Because what Lady Sophia was talking about is that things are moving really rapidly. You're feeling,
Yes,
and the energies are amping up. And, the response that many people are making is when I was actually talking with Lady Elaine. They showed me that scene in Willy Wonka. They said, she's the kid in the candy store. It's the problem that a lot of the young ones are having. They want to do everything instead of looking to see what is it that my skill sets are best suited for? How can I best be of service? And then most importantly, how does that fit underneath the umbrella of the mission of the Goodnight Child Empowerment Network? When you look at your map, you know that you're covering the 3 pie wedges that you've chosen. And they're arbitrary, but it's very, and it doesn't mean you can't use the others, does not mean you can't work in all of them, does not mean you can only do these, doesn't mean you're responsible for these. Just means, you chose these for yourself intuitively based on what you love. And when you look at what you love and you map it into the center, the next thing that you do, related to anything that you would do going forward, it should be sitting in the middle here. It should be bringing together spirituality, culture, environment, wellness. Can you think of anything? And actually, I would put on here, you're going to be teaching a yoga class for kids. I mean, and it sits at the heart of the mission of the charity.
No, that part too. And the other piece of this, remember the travel part. I've been with crystals, and there's a few of us that have invested a lot and put them
You want to
out
start distributing like Moira does, or like
events and going places. Yes, I mean, it's just like the whole thing. Look at what happened with. I just trust that if I'm to go, there's going to be reason when I get there. And it's like travel with everything I do. I need to have an endpoint. It's like travel with purpose. And then you have a few days at the end where you kick back. But, Greg was in the Peace Corps, and we've sort of gel in that the type of work he has. Now he sees the great purpose, like when we were in Cambodia, what he was able to bring, because food supplies are in jeopardy. People need to know about the pests, the things that he's the world expert in. These are the things that are affecting entire food supplies. And then on my side, when I come in, I find that I'm able to reach just about everywhere we go, and giving the crystals and being able to, the way that it happened with all the different people I've been at, and you had this experience yourself too, but just seeing what it would do, seeing the will that it brought, and just seeing the light come out in people. I get that. And I have that ability. When I'm out there with people, I do have a way of being able to bring their light out. I'm a good one. I've been a counselor most of my life. Most of us are when we start working with people. You have a patient, call it nutrition. No, the psychiatrist at the Naval Academy knew that I worked with the people and all the time that way in the level of psychiatry. And they would just come in to me to get help and direction because they didn't want to commit suicide in NASA. So I have a lot of in-depth experience, with high-powered people, knowing the stories I heard at the Naval Academy would blow you away. I mean, people who were in the power positions were in my patients in my office just to download. I do Reiki on them. Shh, don't tell. I stuck my neck out for 8 years. And as a result, many people, rather than me doing it, I would send everybody to her to help her build her business. So, I have been involved in that piece.
So I need to have you pause for me for a minute, because it's definitely coming through for me. It's really, really easy. So this is a powerful process in the fact that we've just mapped out your past all the way up to right now.
I can't read it. How does it say?
Well, I'm going to send it to you so you can look at it on the computer. So
yoga for, I just want to see what you filled in. That yoga for camp, travel to place
crystals, or blank question mark.
Well, here's the thing. I'm raising my 3 things. Someone asked me if I had X amount of money and before I make it too, but what are the 3 things you want in to be in life? I said, my thing are to be in Conan's life, be with the castle, and to travel. Those were 3 in a nutshell. And basically I have those 3 things. And so it's just a matter of how they all fit in. And you're around this path long enough, you begin to see how quickly things change. And I see with Sophia or anybody, but especially in her position, the change can be constant. And now I feel for it because there are so many things, and I marvel at how she handles it. You handle a lot too, but she really handles, because she's got Michaela and she's got this and she's got that, and plus she's got that other big piece on her shoulders. And and then I've seen the 2 of them, but we all kind of grew up together a certain way, and then she's just way up there, she is.
So the thing that I want you to look at, the 2 things that they're asking me to have you look at, is check out the collar that you wound up with in the center of your. By the way,
Raphael, that to me is Raphael.
This color, the background color?
Well, gold and gold. Well, not gold and purple. It's gold. Yeah, gold and gold is Raphael.
Okay, it's partly that, but part, I think, of what I was hearing was it's actually a very earth-based color. It's a reminder to stay grounded.
Well, that's definitely where yoga's coming into
It's about staying in your body and staying grounded. Not that you can't, but when you're too far in the spirituality realms. I actually have had a serious problem with it. I had somebody recently say, oh, she's the grounded one. I laughed because I've had to work at it.
Oh,
I,
it's all the time. I mean, that's been the thing about me all the time is she's always pulling my body. So, I mean, that's always been.
part of why it takes longer to take action at the castle, I think, is because so many of us spend so much time in the spiritual dimension.
Mm.
I admire Lady Sophia as well because she can do that and she can literally shut the channel off the next second and go to work. And I think that she learned that from observing Sir Edward do it. He could become a channel and then he could be right back to grounded 3D reality and be picking up dog crap.
Oh, well, I mean, trust me, I was really thick in that for quite a while. So yeah, I mean, I've been there with him a
So
lot.
the thing that they said to share with you is just that, Lady Sophia brought it up. Each one of us has this golden ticket, this thing that we want. Yours is, this is what you want, right? You want this. Your golden ticket would be that I can be in Conan's life, that I can travel, and that I can do my work at the castle. All three of those things can sit on your golden ticket, but in order to do it, in order to make that happen, you have to go buy the Wonka bar. And buying the Wonka bar is, building a process, building this activities for the kids, because that's in service to the castle, and then traveling to place crystals. And the question mark I was thinking was, maybe what's going to happen is as these new castle centers begin to open, there is going to be a need for mentorship of those people.
Oh, I think that would be awesome. I mean, I did witchy poo for years, and we did the magic, and it's like you get set on a path, and then it changes into something else, and then you're not really sure what they want you. And all of a sudden, it's this, and this, and what are the needs? The needs come and they change, and we have to speak up. What are those needs? And not let them wait till the end when things snowball. But on the other hand, it's we're supposed to be able to listen and know, but that doesn't always happen, and not with everybody. So it was very good when we started the crystals. Now I knew the things that I could do, like with Shona, that was partly the work. I did all these things, mapped everything out. I got it all lined out. I was going to, when the two of them were going to come together, but it just couldn't seem to mesh.
Well, I mean, Shona,
it's like you try things, and it's a matter of, so I have tried many things. I've put many things, I've written booklets and things. And now it's just like, I can't believe I did any of that. I wouldn't even, it's me studying for this exam right now because I'm so not liking it. I'm really trying to embrace it. I'd so rather just be back with my Reiki. This is really hard for me to get through this test. I hope that I can get a 70. That's passing. So, I mean, that's where my head's at. It's hard.
I'm not worried about that.
It's very hard. Well, no, it's very hard for me right now. But I don't, I'm not going to continue to beat myself up because I've done all those. I've done many of the other things. And I think, well, I don't really have much to show for it in that sense, but materially, I've done so many stupid things. I don't have much that way. But
I actually have. I have this suit, and I don't want to cut it off arbitrarily. I'm sending you your map.
Thank you.
I've got the recording of the call. What they said was, take a look at what's at the bottom. Just review it. If you want to redo it, that's great. But it has a lot of keys and information in there for you.
That's
that it's yours. You can do whatever you want with it. Or do nothing with it. But they had a question for you. It was just ask each morning, what can I do today to work on that center petal? Because if you do the service to what's in the middle of that petal, if you figure out things that fit in the middle that are in service to the castle, but that meet your heart's desires, that use all three of those domains, Conan's going to be a part of your life. You are going to travel and you're going to be at the castle. You're already doing it for the castle. So those things will all fit together. I have to skate because I have clients coming in 3 minutes.
Well, right now the yoga, I've got to get that certificate or I won't be teaching with her certificate. So that's the next week. Thank you so much, Mara. That was really sweet of you to do that.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, Jayne, I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thanks, Mara.
Bye.
Talk to you later. Bye.